Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was the bastard child of Sirzechs Lucifer and strongest demon in existence part 2. Before we start, please go support God of Hope for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Wrath and blood. Sir, did you really do that? When he was a child he was quite a heartthrob, but deep down he was very afraid of girls. In the living room of the Hyodo residence. The adults who were Erica, Sirzechs, Grafia who was bringing the tea, the Gremory patriarchs and both young people with Asia were talking about everything. They had plans to watch the videos they had recorded of the boys, but I think they will leave that for another time. The patriarchs adored Erica Hyodo within an hour of meeting her. She was a sweet woman. And he also knew how to put Sirzechs in his place. Since she with a gentle look plus a dark aura calmed the Riti to behave. Grafia and Erica talked like best friends. They each talked about things that have happened in their lives. Everyone was happy although Issei was the one who was serious. Of course. It would not be easy for him to forget everything they went through because of his father's ineptitude. That Rias was by his side just like Asia was what calmed him down. Just as Erica went to bring some snacks along with Grafia, Venelana, Rias and Asia in the kitchen. The men stayed in the room. Sirzechs looked wanting to talk to his son and Issei continued to maintain his posture. Sirzechs had to be a mediator between them. Issei, I would like to talk. The young Riti, even though he didn't want to listen to him, had no other choice. It would be very immature of you to leave. Okay. What do you want to talk about? Sirzechs was inwardly glad that his son was willing to talk, although the topic he was going to touch on might make him angry. But I had to talk about it. Issei, tell me. Is it true that you and Rias have a relationship? Is there a problem with that happening? I asked him sharply. You know she's your aunt, right? My sister. Your blood. I know that. But what are you trying to get at with these questions? What I mean is that your relationship is forbidden in the eyes of many, and several members of the council have asked me to speak with you and force you to break off that relationship and find an heiress from another clan and for Rias to marry the heir of the Glacial Ebola's house and no order to continue as he felt his son's power suddenly increase. So those rustics sent you to break my engagement with Rias. I always thought you were one of those bootlicking idiots. Son, I'm not here for that. No. Then why the hell did you mention all this? Are you going to separate me from her? Depends. It depends on what? How willing you are to go for it. Issei's power increased further and he looked at Sirzechs in a hostile manner. And he rose from his seat to face his father. I almost killed a phoenix and silenced a cadre's life. Do I have to fight you so you leave me alone for once? He had a Panzerfaust activated. There was a very tense silence. Issei wasn't joking. He was willing to fight with his father so he could be happy with the woman he loves. Even if his mother came to hate him. Sirzechs hadn't spoken, in fact he wanted to see how his son handled the situation with his grandson. But just when he thought he would have to separate them. He watched as Sirzechs just started to smile calmly. You know Issei, you remind me of myself when I fought in the war. So bold. So fearless. So dedicated to what I loved. The younger Riti did not understand. His powers went out. I hope that this motivation and strength can continue to protect the woman you love. Son, I hope you can overcome the adversities that come your way in life. Wait a minute. Was what you said a lie? Partly. Because the council wanted me to separate you from her. But I didn't allow it because they are slowly losing political power for the acts committed in the past. This was more like a test to see if my son was capable of fighting for what he loves. And the truth is that I was not disappointed for a moment. Issei now didn't want to hit his father, he wanted to break his face. You're a damn unhappy person, the insult. Language, his grandfather reprimanded him. Sorry grandpa. Come on son, if there's one thing I know, it's that you had to wait for my very twisted sense of humor. Oh yes, how can I forget that this sense of humor had caused me many traumas. Those were good times. You're seriously sick. You sleep with my sister who is your aunt and you are also going to marry her and you call me sick. I know comments. And between us how much did they play? What are you talking about? The man made a gesture with his hands. What a face, be considerate, what's wrong with your head? Sensing that the younger Riti had a face like his hair would be more embarrassing for him. Come on Issei, I don't think you were that innocent when you slept with my sister. I'm sure your mother told you in great detail how we conceived you. It was an unforgettable February night with the rain falling and… You know what, stop it, I better go to my room. He walked away, not wanting to hear any more. Son, come on, don't go just because you find it uncomfortable. Come, I want to teach you some tricks. Shut up already. He hurriedly went to his room, leaving both older Ritids laughing. But those stopped when two Harrison hit the Mau. He turned to look and it was his women who had a very terrifying aura about them. I notice you are very angry. What did my idiot son do now? Venelana asked her husband. Uses his twisted sense of humor. Did he make that gesture? Sip. Then he deserves it. And where is Rias? Went to see him. They were talking casually while both women punished the retreat in an unpleasant way. Malaysia enjoyed the show with a bag of nachos with melted cheese. What a good program. As Rias climbed up and arrived at her beloved's room. Issei, are you okay? He received his answer when he saw the young retreat throwing darts at an image of the Mao Lucifer. I'm not. He threw 2 darts that hit him in the eyes. I'm not at all here. And with force he launched a dart charged with the power of destruction, and with it he destroyed the image. That damn immature wretch made me look like an idiot in front of my grandfather. I swear that when I find the opportunity I'm going to shoot him with an 88 cannon and see if he'll grow up. Better do it with a 120. Maybe that way you'll achieve something. He sighs and then sits on the bed looking at the floor. Oh my god. Why did I have to have a father who tends to make a fool of himself? Sometimes I'm embarrassed. Yes, I know how it feels. She sits down next to him. That's how he is. But one thing is certain. He loves you and wants to protect you just like Erika-san. You can say many things about him. But one thing you can't deny is that in the end he is your father and that won't change. She put a hand in her lover's hand making him accept that gesture. They both looked at each other. Issei doesn't know how a girl like her can be so understanding and manage to calm his heart. But I was sure of one thing. He will protect her at all costs because he loves her to death. Thanks, Rias. I don't know what my life would be like without you. I should thank you. I can't imagine a life without you. And looking into each other's eyes. They both kissed each other lovingly. It must be said that even though society says that their relationship was one that in the eyes of God was bad, they didn't give a damn. The kiss increased in intensity. But. Issei-san. They separated when they saw that the blonde had teary eyes. Asia, I can explain it. It's not fair that they do that. I also want Issei-san to kiss me like that. Asia, I love you and you know it. But you should know that I am his fiancé and therefore I have more rights than you. But he always hogs it. It's cheating. But you. They were both arguing, making the retreat smile, who was happy to have his family. Did I interrupt something? The discussion stopped when they saw that the Mao with 2 protuberances on his head was at the door. Ani-sama. But the devil, what was missing? Issei, calm down. I'm not here to bother you. I just want to tell you both something. Is it about your masochistic side that you have when mom and Grafia-san punish you? Those words had made both girls laugh a little. Very funny, son, but it's not that. You see, I've thought about it a lot and I think that both of you are already very strong, so I think it's time for you to release the first bishop. The 3 of them were bewildered. First bishop? Let's just say that meeting Ria's first bishop was something peculiar. Issei's male pride hurt when he saw a boy dressing as a girl, and to top it off, you could easily mistake him for a girl. If mom sees him, she will surely subject him to Wehrmacht training. He was also found to have one of the most broken powers ever. Stop time. Now he, along with Kaneko, Zenobia, Asia and Saji, helped him train. Although. Run faster, soldier. If it were a war you would already be ground meat by a Soviet cannon. I mean it. The thing was that Issei, thanks to the fact that he can mold his power of destruction into objects, created a tiger too that chased a half-vampire. Everything was going well until the tank turret turned in one direction. Something I miss from others. Issei sent what the? I know you're there. So get out now or I'll open fire. From the bushes a vehicle made of blue light emerged from the forge. It was a tank of Soviet design. On his 3. Both tanks were aiming at each other. And behind the tank of light was someone who was known by Issei. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to talk to some people. He was the leader of the fallen angels. Azazel. 2 days passed and Issei was now heading to a place where he was summoned. But there was one obstacle that he sincerely hates. My worst enemy. Something had to happen to get to the place that was a Shinto temple. Stairs. The Keno, who is in charge of taking care of that place, was sweeping the floor, but she heard heavy footsteps on the stairs at the entrance of the temple. She patiently waited for that person to arrive. But it turned out to be Issei, who was wearing his armor and was walking heavily to the entrance, and when he arrived he fell to the ground, already tired. His armor disappeared, leaving only the glove. Thanks for helping me up the last 30 steps, drag. I think I just threw up at the 3rd stop. They'll have to clean it up. I'll talk to the owner to apologize. Ara, did I hear that you threw up? Then I'm going to have to punish you for that. He could see a Keno dressed as a Maiko. The Keno-senpai, are you in charge of this temple? Yes, I am. And I'm glad you came, they are waiting for us. It turned out that the one waiting for them was the leader of heaven. Michael, the right hand of God. He gave him a special sword called Ascalon. The dragon slayer sword. Now both young people were drinking tea. How is your relationship with Butchu? I'm doing great, Akeno-senpai. She and I think we're ready to take the next step. Next step? That's right. Look what I managed to get. From his pocket he took out a box and when he opened it he found a beautiful engagement ring. I want to propose to her when the factions issue is over. Nothing would fill me with more happiness than being with her for the rest of my life. For Akeno everything sounded bad. Issei-kun, are you absolutely sure that this is what you want? Of course I am. I love Rias and she loves me. There's nothing wrong with us being together. Issei, it's not that I want to insult you, but Butchu is your aunt. Your blood relative. Your father's sister. What you're doing is forbidden. Akeno-senpai, I love Rias. I don't care if it's forbidden. Well, you should care, Issei. Do you know what could happen? She will be frowned upon by almost the majority of the underworld. The demonic society will reject her. Everyone will ostracize her. And the worst thing would be if you two were to have a child. How would you tell him that he is the product of a forbidden relationship? What would you tell him when he is bullied at school? Akeno's words, although she didn't want to admit it, were true. All that could happen. Seeing his expression, she had to hold back her smile when she saw that he was beginning to doubt. Issei-kun. I know you love Rias. But there are times when one must leave things as they really are. For the sake of both you and hers, I think it's best that you two end things. Issei was deep in thought. So much so that he didn't notice how Akeno's hand touched his. I know it will be difficult for both of you. But you will manage to move on with your lives. She will find someone better who can love her. You have me to support you. Stealthily and slowly he removed the fingers from the hand where he had the ring box. Just let her go. Let her be happy with someone else and let's be happy together. When I was about to remove the last finger. Just when I was about to kiss him. Now when he felt that he had him at his mercy. Something had happened. In Issei's mind where the words of Barakiel's daughter still sounded, he was beginning to fall into a depression. Seeing Rias with another man. See her happy. Seeing her smiling. It was painful for him to know that this smile was produced by the happiness of another love. He was beginning to believe that what Akeno said was true. And I was about to give in, but that didn't happen. Since memories also arrived. The first kiss of both. The first night. Every appointment. Every caress. Every word from both of them. And a memory of that night where both of them had the plan to be together. Until death do us part. Both forming a family. Isay, I love you. And with that. The hand holding the case regained strength and abruptly moved away from the raven. Leaving her confused. I'm sorry, Akeno-senpai, but I'm going to cross that bridge once I get to it. She, upon hearing those words, just lowered her gaze. His hands were clenched into fists and a tear was coming out of his eye. She felt rejected. She felt despised. She doesn't want to leave Issei. He doesn't want her to leave his side. She doesn't want to be alone again. I don't accept it, you can't leave my side, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'm not going to let you go. Hence. With one of his wings he removed the tea table and abruptly hugged him. Being surrounded by more than 10,000 volts in her body, she electrocuted the Redeed, leaving him paralyzed. Shit. Akeno was on top of him. Issei could see that his friend's eyes were empty, devoid of life. The eyes of someone who clings to what keeps her alive. Issei. You're not going to leave me, I won't allow it, I won't allow it. The hand was on the Redeed's neck. Akeno-senpai, please stop, he couldn't breathe because she was squeezing his trachea. Don't leave me. I love you. I love you more than she does. I don't want to. 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 I don't want. From his free hand a sword made of lightning appeared and with it he pointed it at his head. I don't want to live if you're not with me, I don't want to. The electric blade was approaching his face in slow motion. Issei couldn't even defend himself. He closed his eyes waiting for the pain. But. Seconds passed and he didn't feel anything. He slowly opened his eyes to see a hand holding Akeno's hand. That hand was covered in demonic power. May I know what you do? Rias had arrived. And he had a serious look. Akeno couldn't move because of a spell on her queen piece that Rias used on her. And with that spell he drove the black-haired girl away from him. Issei, are you okay? She helped him. I feel like I'm on my first day of training with my mother, I can't move properly. They both looked at Akeno who was on her knees from the pain the piece was causing her. She was crying. Not because of the pain. If not because her anger had gotten out of control, causing her to almost kill the boy she loves. Now she didn't want to be seen like that. I just wanted to die. I wanted to disappear. What have I done? Issei blamed himself for her state. Correction, what have we done? Said Rias as she also feels guilty. He approached the brunette but Rias stopped him. Come home, Ice, I'm going to fix this. But. Trust me please. Okay. He trusted her completely and that's why he left. Leaving both girls alone. I'll remove the obedience spell, and when I do we'll talk like we should have. Do we have a deal? She, without looking at her, just nodded her head. When Rias removed the obedience spell the pain stopped. Rias knelt before Aeno. Aeno yo. Now I know why he loves you, I will never be able to make him love me the way he loves you, why wasn't it me? Why? More tears came out of her eyes. He cried with rage and pain for the person he loves. Rias feeling the pain of her queen. So I hug her. Aeno expected her master to hate her with all her heart. But she sees that this is not the case. Without further ado she let out her tears on the Redeed's chest. I'm sorry Aeno, it's my fault you're like this. It's my damn fault I hurt you. She kept crying. Until he had calmed down. Are you better now? I don't know how you can still be kind after everything I did. You're my friend Aeno. I know it wasn't you when you did it. You love Issei too much to think of hurting him like that. But I. Calm down, friend. You know, if I wasn't here, I would trust you to take care of him. Aeno looked up to meet her master's eyes. How can you think that? I wanted to separate them. I know, but you thought of us. You thought of what the future would hold for us. And although I would never trust you with my son, I will trust you with Issei if death takes me. Son? Perhaps you? She took Aeno's hand and placed it on her belly. I'm going to be a mother and I want Issei to make her a brother. We are friends and we have shared many things. Why not share the same man? Rias, thank you. Aeno hugged her. He thought everything was going to end badly. And now she had lost her friend in Issei. But it wasn't like that. They were both happy. Nothing could ruin that moment. Nothing. Except that they both felt a very high demonic power. They knew that power. Issei. They immediately went to that address. Upon arrival, they found blood and signs of a fight in a park. The others also arrived, including Elmayu and Grafia, who had Erika in her arms. The patriarchs also arrived. Sono along with her entourage also. Rias was upset as she couldn't feel her lover's energy. Then in the middle of the pool of blood there was a magic seal printed on paper. Bird was activated. Showing himself to a hooded subject, but from his voice, it was clear that he was an old man. Greetings to you, Mayu. At the moment I can't tell you my name, but I think I have your attention. As you see, I just took your excerpt. So I will give you two options. If within 24 hours the heiress of the Gremory family doesn't marry an heir, your son will die. But if you comply with my demand, I will hand over your disgusting excerpt to you, and don't try to look for me, since I took all measures to not be found. The Mayu was starting to get furious, as was everyone else present. Time is running out. So see you later. I'm going to have fun with that abominable half-breed. The magic seal was burned. Rias fell to her knees as she saw her beloved being snatched from her hands. Everyone was trying to figure out what to do. But one Redeed was furious, so much so that Grafia had to put up a very powerful barrier so that the city wouldn't be affected by his fury. One thing they were sure of. That guy was going to pay for his crime with blood. By reason for living. Issei was on his knees tied by the wrists. But chains that nullify their magical power. While two guys with whips were whipping his back. Laughing with fun at seeing the dirty extirpation suffer. While an old man covered in a robe watched with satisfaction as the Redeed tried to endure the pain. It was whip for whip. And hidden in the shadows was that cat girl who looked at everything without any expression. The old man raised his hand and the guys stopped. He approached the young man's face. I hope the 3 hours of flogging have made you join the one who will be our only ruler of the underworld, the one who should have ruled our world by right of blood. He did not answer her. Something that bothered the old man. Giving him the signal to do that. I heard that you have German blood. Do you know that the Germans were the ones who killed many in the Second World War? They killed many Jews, aren't you proud of them? As I could be against those Nazi genocidaires, they are not my people. So you're not proud of Hitler? Well then I'll give you something so you never forget what your people did. From a fireplace the old man took something that was heating up. A red-hot symbol. Do you know what this is? Issei, seeing him, knew what the old man wanted to do. He tried desperately to free himself from the chains, but it was useless. He didn't deny it, he was scared. I hope you proudly bear the mark of what was the most fascist and warlike power in all of history. The old man approached his exposed back. That's the Axis symbol. And with evil he marked him. Ah. The pain was unbearable. But the humiliation was worse. And on his back the Axis symbol was marked. Forever. What a beautiful mark. I will let you rest. I hope that in this time that I am giving you, you can accept joining the resurrection of the one who should have been our leader of Rizavam Sama. The old man and the whippers were preparing to leave, but not before he said a few words to the girl. Watch him. If he escapes, I'll kill you. She did not answer. When she and Issei were alone, the girl approached and immediately managed to apply a first aid spell on the wounds. Please hold on, you have to hold on until help arrives. She was trying to keep the Redeed alive, and when she saw that his gaze was broken, she had no choice but to hug him and cry. She never wanted this. When he was watching her and pretending to be a stray cat, she had approached him. He had brought her food and often petted her behind the ears. There was not a day when he did not neglect her because you could see in his eyes that he loved her very much. She, without being able to avoid it, had become so attached to the Redeed that she already had plans to cancel the contract she had with that old man and go to his side to serve him. But without warning and without realizing it, he was captured, taking advantage of the fact that he was weak and his movements were limited. He has had to endure 3 hours of watching the person he wants as his master being tortured without being able to do anything to stop it. It hurt to see him so broken, and even more when they marked him with the axis. She sent a messenger so that they could find the location of the place and come to save him, although they could arrest her for being an accomplice to the act of torturing the Mayu's son. But he didn't care as long as his master lived. Just hold on, master. He prayed to any deity that help would not be delayed in arriving. At the Hyodo household, the Gremory patriarchs were looking after Erica, who was trying to process that her son had been kidnapped. But the one who was in the worst condition was Rias, who locked herself in the room she shares with Issei. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what to do or what he could do. I just hugged a pillow that had the scent of chestnut. I wanted to have him by my side. I wanted to be with him. She was willing to do anything to get him back. I would give anything, I don't care if it's just years of life, I want to have him back. What she didn't know was that a being had hurt her. That being had been watching that Redeed since he had arrived in this world, being curious about her. But she was more curious about the life growing in her womb. Hence. How willing are you? She opened her eyes upon hearing that voice. In fact, from crying so much she hadn't noticed that a room that she shared with Issei smelled like cinnamon. Who are you? Don't worry, I didn't come to hurt you, but to help you. She looked for him with her eyes, trying to find out who the owner of that voice was. And how do I know that what you say is true? She didn't trust. We can stay up all night talking if you want, but the person you love is in danger and time is not a luxury right now. With just those words, Rias knew she had no options. But still. What's your price? Nobody does things for free, so tell me, what do you want? I'll give you anything if you help me get Issei back. I only ask you one thing. Rias had to ask that being for life or something that he could not give her. But I didn't believe what he asked for. An apple. An apple. Yes, and if it's red, even better. She didn't understand the reason for the request, but she didn't complain. You have 5 minutes to get ready. You can only go by yourself. That voice stopped being heard and Rias immediately left the room. I searched through Issei's things that he has in an attic for what he once gave him. And he found it. A Mauser Car 98K with magnified lens sight and 3 5-round magazines, as well as 2 stick grenades and a German Empire saber. I had all of this to use and give it to Issei when I find him. Then he went down to the kitchen and, almost without anyone noticing, he took an apple from a fruit bowl. Only Aeno noticed it. When he went up to his room, he locked the door and waited. But he was a little alarmed when he heard a very chilling sound. It was the sound of bones twisting joints and vertebrae. And then something in front of her appeared. It was a scary thing, but she stayed calm. Issei came first before his fears. Do you have what I asked for? She just knelt down and extended her hand where she had the apple, hoping that being would accept her offer. Then I felt the fruit in my hand become light until I looked up to see the apple turn to ashes. It was delicious. Are you ready to go save him? I am, but first tell me, how can I call you? Call me Long Horse. And in a flash. They both disappeared while Aeno, having a key, opened the door, fearing that she would not find her friend or that she would do something crazy. Unfortunately, the first thing happened. She was no longer there. In the Mayu's office, where the ruler was very serious along with his 2 Mayu companions who looked at him worriedly. It had been 12 hours and things were not going well. Those who knew him knew that Sirzechs was the most distressed inside after Erica and Grafia. Sirzechs, you must calm down. We have already sent our nobility to look for clues about his whereabouts. Sirzechs, and your son will be fine. He is strong and stubborn enough to let himself be defeated like that. You just have to have faith in him. Thanks, guys. Even so, ever since I saw Issei again, I swore that I would never abandon him again. I promised Erica to bring him back. I won't be able to forgive myself if something happens to him. For both Mas, this was totally sad. But they understand that it must be difficult for their friend. The council elders were investigated, but the problem lies in the fact that they were politically protected by the leader of House Bale. It was nothing good. And the worst thing was that they couldn't do anything except look for him. Just when it was believed that hope was below zero. A knock on one of the windows caught their attention. The 3 looked and saw that it was a small bird that was touching the glass with its beak. Serafel opened the window, and that bird went into the hands of the ruler. Sirzechs could see that there was a note on the bird's leg. He took that note and when he removed it the bird disappeared. He looked at the note and then was surprised. "Sirs, what's wrong?" asked Serafal. "The Juka, prepare the men you can gather, I already know where and who did it." They didn't know what was happening, but they didn't object. Since he was their leader after all. In the Redeed's mind I just look out the window with a very serious, but at the same time determined look. I already knew who it was. "Hold on Issei, I'm coming for you." Within 3 barriers protecting a luxurious 20-hectare property, the same Redeed had appeared along with the bone being that surrounded her with its joints. She looked through the bushes that the mansion was protected by middle and low-class demons. All servants of the master. You have to be careful, there are many guards, and the barrier will give you away if you use your magic power. I have to get in without being seen, will you help me? I'm sorry but I can't, now it's up to you to get to him who is in the most protected place here, good luck. And with that the skeletal creature disappeared leaving the Redeed alone. She already had a plan that she put into action. She ran through the bushes without being seen thanks to the dark coat she was wearing, and when she got to a place she took one of the stick grenades and threw it with all her strength. Boom. The grenade exploded, alerting the guards who were put on alert and went to see where the noise was coming from. But Rias took that opportunity to enter unseen. Once inside I wandered through the gardens until I entered the mansion. When he entered he hid when he saw several guards running outside. Seeing that there were no moors on the coast, he went further into the mansion. Longhorn said that it is in the most protected place of this mansion. I deduced that it would be the basement since it is deep and safe. He searched the hallways until he came to a door that led to the basement. Bingo. He was going to open it but realized that it has a strong magic seal that only opened to local people. Now how am I going to get in? He planned to use his magic to break the seal but heard someone approaching, so he hid in a nearby room. He saw that they were 2 people who had several instruments of torture. This breed is fun when we torture it, I want to try my toys now. Remember that we must leave him alive, our goal is to break his mind so that he can be the perfect weapon for Rizavam Sama. Just imagine it, the fake Mayu couldn't kill his son, and our true ruler used him as an attack dog. Rias heard everything, that name sounds familiar to her, but when she heard the plan she couldn't control herself. So seeing how you opened the door with your own magic, he was able to act. He stealthily took out a serrated knife and used it to cut the back of the guy's neck, who didn't have time to scream. The other, seeing how his partner fell dead, was going to attack, but the Redeed was faster, and with the knife she managed to cut his jugular. Making him bleed out slowly and painfully, looking terrifyingly at Rias, who looked at him as if he were a disgusting cockroach. After seeing that guy die, he entered the basement. While outside. There is nothing here. They distracted us, tell Lord Bail and tell him there's an intruder here. Sir, several contacts are approaching. The guards looked and saw that they were demons in the service of the Mayu. Along with the 3 rulers and several others. They were Rias' peerage along with Grafia, and they were all furious. Let him know that we have been discovered, we are being attacked. Sirzech's forces attacked the barrier along with the others. Their attacks were powerful, but the barrier seemed unbeatable. It was very powerful. But nothing the Mayu can't handle. They only prepared a sphere of condensed destruction, and it took the form of an arrow. Hold on Issei, I'm coming, were Sirzech's thoughts when he launched his first attack. Rias looked at the place. It was a dungeon where there were 6 cells and of these there were bones. And at the end of the hallway there was a door that she immediately went to open. When he saw it he couldn't believe it. Issei was on his knees with his wrists held by shackles that nullify his magic. And healing his wounds was someone he didn't know. Amari was surprised when she saw who had entered, since it was impossible to pass through the 3 barriers without being discovered. What are you doing to Ice? I was going to take out the sword. No wait, he tried to keep him alive. Lord Zekrom put a very powerful poison on him that is killing him and tried to stop his advance before it reaches his heart. She immediately put away her sword upon hearing that and went to check. And it was true. There was poison in his body. I had no antidote or anything I could do. Help me take off his shackles. The cat girl immediately unsheathed her katana and in an instant the shackles fell to the ground, freeing the Redeed. Rias took it and saw that apart from the large mark on his back, his veins were showing on his skin in a black color. For the first time the second heiress did not know what to do. I can look for the antidote, so I can. The intruder is in the dungeon. They both heard that the guards discovered them. Amari closed the door and put up a barrier to prevent them from entering, but it wouldn't do much good. Since with a lot of magical power they tried to knock down the door. Amari did everything she could to maintain the barrier. There was no way those cowards would ever hurt her master again. Ice, please wake up, please don't leave me. There was a rumble all over the place, but she was more focused on her beloved. Please don't leave me, don't go where I can't go, please. His pleas were of no use. There was only one alternative. Long horse, help me, I'll give you anything, but please help me save him. His plea seemed to be heard while sounds of bones and joints were heard all over the place. A skeletal being appeared. Shouting my name is not necessary, but given the situation I think it was. Amari had been terrified by the sight of such a creepy looking being. Long horse, please, I will do whatever you ask me, but if you can cure him I beg you. The decision is only yours. I watch over the humans, those beings who once adored me. But you must know that as long as he is alive the world will go towards an uncertain future. Somehow Longhorse showed an illusion. One where the underworld and the supernatural lived in an era of peace. He could be the hero who brings long and happy times of peace. Suddenly the illusion changed. The one where everything was grey and every building or place of the supernatural had a banner or symbol of the Axis, the Nazi symbol. Or the tyrant who brings long and dark times of war. The illusions disappeared and she, who had noticed everything, understood what that being of bones wanted to tell her. Whatever the fate, it will pass, not today, not tomorrow, but it will definitely pass. He showed the image of an Issei who was respected and loved as a hero. And another image of a uniformed Issei who was feared and hated as a tyrant. Even knowing this, you still want me to live. She looked at him. That person you fell in love with and want to be by his side. That person who cares little about what they say, never gives in. That person who has been, is and will be the only man in your life. Longhorse approached her. Go ahead, make your decision, the world. Or your loved one. Choose. She looks at that being and without a doubt. I choose him, she chose her beloved. The time will come and you, my girl, will suffer more than anyone if he decides to go into the darkness. A few tears came out of the Redeed's eyes, tears of helplessness. I don't care, I'll face it when that moment comes because he is the person I love and nothing will make me regret my decision, and if that moment comes, whatever it is, I will be with him until the end, even if I have to die with him. The elongated being looked at her. In all his years of existence he has never met someone who prefers the one he loves to the world. Now please heal him, do it. It's done. From one of its joints it showed a mist of dark energy. She looked at her beloved and saw that his veins were returning to normal. I was cured. I've already done my part, now give him a reason to live. That being walked away and suddenly disappeared. Rias looked at her beloved who did not wake up. He closed his eyes and pressed his forehead against hers. Eyes, come back to me, you can't leave without meeting your son. Amari, who was still maintaining the barrier, heard the last thing and was in shock. I'm pregnant, I don't want our child to be left without a father. Her tears came out but the hand delicately wipes away those tears with its fingers. She opened her eyes seeing Issei looking at her with a smile. I was alive. Rias, I am the happiest man in the entire underworld. Both. Smiling. They closed their eyes to feel each other's lips. It was a happy moment. But I can't take it anymore. Amari's forces gave way and the guards broke through the barrier. Among the guards was the one who branded him as a farm animal. Zekrom. Well, she's my niece. It's a shame I have to kill you. If you had followed tradition, I wouldn't have to do this. He created a sphere of power of destruction, what a waste of pure blood. She threw it at them hoping to reduce them to nothing, but that weight was stopped by the injured hands of the same Redeed. It was Issei who stopped the attack, leaving the leader surprised, believing that he was weak and dying from the poison. You will not touch my family. I deflect the sphere upwards and it blew up the mansion and the barrier. Outside, Sirzech's forces had eliminated the two barriers and with the disappearance of the third, they went straight to fight the demons that followed Zekrom. Amai looked at how the mansion was left and went straight to the epicenter. Issei had launched an attack with Panzerfaust breaking through the ancient demon's magical defenses, but he seemed stronger. They both fought in the air. Rias managed to kill the demons who were going to help Zekrom with a weapon loaded with the power of destruction condensed in the bullets. Amari prevented any demon from attacking the Redeed by cutting them with her sword. Issei managed to hit him a few times, but it wasn't enough, and he was weak. He had not fully recovered. Had to use another technique. Air raid. Behind him 6 spheres of power of destruction were created and launched at the demon. But these took the form of Luftwaffe aircraft. The F-109. These planes attacked all over the country, chasing the old man who was surprised by such a technique. Issei attacked with blows as much as he could since he lost strength every minute. When he gave him a right hook in the face, he seriously hurt him, causing him to crash to the ground. Then the planes go to hell, crashing and exploding in destructive energy. Issei fell to the ground. I was almost exhausted from all the torture and fighting. He got down on his knees to see if he had defeated him. But he saw that it was not so. That old man emerged from the smoke and dust with only minor injuries, plus his fine clothes were somewhat torn. But he didn't care as he had a smile full of pure evil. Now I see why Rizavam Sama wants to have you. You are the perfect tool to defeat the false Mayu. I almost regret having ordered that attack years ago. Years ago. You were the one who attacked me and my mother. That revelation surprised the Reddit a lot. Of course it was me, but what I don't regret was that cancer that filthy human has. I can already imagine the faces of both of them who were dealing with it and continue to deal with it. It's unfortunate that the glorious power of destruction is in the hands of a half-breed. Issei at that moment was blinded by anger and hatred. Before his eyes was that demon that made life hell for him and his mother. He tried to stand up, but his body couldn't take it anymore. Come on, move please drag help me. You're weak, partner, if I give you boosts, your body won't be able to handle it. Zekrom approached and with his hand prepared a sphere made of magical power. And smiling arrogantly he was going to finish him off. Fufu, welcome to the brigade, new weapon of the Mao. The young Redeed closed his eyes waiting for the end. 5. But it didn't happen. Since the old demon was attacked by throwing away a sphere of power of destruction. Issei looked at who it was. And it was. I'm glad you're okay, son. Dad. The ruler of the underworld and the one who is considered a super demon. Sirzechs Lucifer. What are you doing? How did that happen? I wasn't going to allow myself to lose my son again. I didn't ask for your help, I've managed on my own, and now you're telling me you're my father? Aye. I'm sorry son, I know that an apology is not going to fix so many years of abandonment. But I will do my best to make up for my sins. Issei was at a loss for words. I didn't even know what to say to him now that I could see a side of my father that I had never seen before. His mother always says that they both look alike in some way. And trying to do things right. Rias, take Issei and go back to the cow, I'll take care of this. The Redeed immediately appeared and taking her beloved by the shoulder with the help of Himari they were going to leave. But. Dad, wait. And with that the three of them disappeared along with the Gremory nobility. Leaving the older Redeed smiling. Smiling at having heard from her son's mouth that word she had not heard for years. His son was forgiving him. Well, if it's not the fake Mao who's here, are you here to arrest me? It is not like that, Zekrom. There will be no trial for you for the crime of kidnapping you committed against my son. I am going to give you your sentence, which will be the death penalty. I should act as if what the Mao said was not a threat. If you want to kill me, do it, but remember that if you do, a great political storm will fall upon you and the other three Mao. They will see you as a dictator. You think I don't know? Since the day you attacked my family, I prepared everything to not only justify what I'm going to do, but also to eliminate those who prevent the underworld from advancing. The entire underworld, along with the other factions, have seen everything we have achieved from you. What? Why do you think they haven't come to arrest me now? It was obvious that you have lost now. Zekrom didn't believe what the Mao said, but it was the truth. Something he knew when a magic circle appeared in his ear. It was his partners who were attacked and arrested for acts of corruption and treason to the underworld. He believed that they would never defeat him politically, but now his plans for the Mao to return to the throne by right of blood were going down the drain. You still want? Tap. Tap. Ah. 2 eye stakes are stuck in his legs. Tap. Tap. And 2 more on the shoulders. Along with a layer of ice that covered him from the waist down. All this caused by Grafia, who now made the old man suffer for kidnapping Issei. This is for Issei-chan, you damn scum. And then he stabbed him 6 more in the arms and chest, making him suffer more pain. And this is for Erika. The Mao prepared a powerful attack ready to wipe him off the map. Lord Zekrom Bale, for crimes of kidnapping, corruption, treason and fascism, is sentenced to die by my hand's last words. I may have been defeated, but no one will be able to stop Rizavam Sama's plans. Everyone will kneel before him, even your son, But not the day, and with one last attack he wiped him off the map, making him nothing more than dust. Removing with it a major obstacle to what would be a better underworld for everyone. For Sirzechs, he not only got his son back. If not, he gained more political power in the underworld. Problems and more problems. A week has passed since that day when the chestnut was kidnapped. Issei was treated for his wounds thanks to Asia, however there is something that could not be cured. A Nazi mark he had on his back. Every time he looks at her he feels a deep hatred for that demon who made life hell for him and his mother. But he still plans to move forward. Since 3 days ago, when things calmed down and everyone was gathered at home, the Redeed made an announcement. In the common room there was only silence. Every person who was there could not believe what they had heard. Rias, is it true? Are you pregnant? Yes, Ani-sama, Issei and I are expecting a child. This was a shock that suddenly turned into happiness. The Gremory patriarchs were happy about this news, as were Erika and Grafia. The Gremory entourage was still in shock over such news, even though they were happy for both Redeeds. The Citri nobility along with Serafal were also there, and some of them along with Sona went to congratulate her. Erika, Grafia, and the others in the Gremory entourage were congratulating her. And I must mention that Zenobia was asking Rias questions about her pregnancy for vital information. Tiba, Saji and Gasper went to congratulate him, as did Zeoticus, who out of nowhere pulled out a bottle of champagne to celebrate. Happy to know that I was going to have another grandson in the Gremory family. The only one who didn't say anything was Sirzechs, who looked at both of them seriously. Son. The younger Rideed stopped talking to his friends and his grandfather to see his father. He assumed his father wouldn't be happy about getting his own aunt pregnant, but he didn't care. He loved Rias and he doesn't plan on leaving her. More now that he gave her a great gift. So he faced it. Look, I know you're angry and think this is wrong, but I love Rias and I think. He couldn't continue when he felt his own father hug him like years ago. The years when he was a child who loved and admired his father. I'm very proud of you, son. Issei, despite everything that had happened, can understand one thing. Sirzechs is his father and that will never change. Thank you, Dad. Everyone smiled at this touching scene, especially Erica when she saw that her son was slowly forgiving his father. Very soon they would all be a complete and happy family. Zeoticus along with Venelana looked with a thought. The family is growing. Now Issei walked to school with Rias. And it must be said that. Seriously, you don't need anything. Are you okay? If you want, we can go back so you can rest. He was very insistent in taking care of his wife. Since she recovered, she dedicates more than half of her time to taking care of her. Taking care if your health was fine or if you had no discomfort. The man worried about his wife. I already told you that I'm fine, I feel fine and we can't go back, we have to go. I'm sorry if I bother you, Rias, but I'm actually very worried about all this. An alliance will be signed, there's a political storm in the underworld, we haven't gotten married, yet every problem is piling up in a row, and we don't know if the alliance will be able to materialize. Whereas, I feel that if war breaks out I wouldn't know if they send me to fight and I don't come back, I don't know what could happen. She got up from her desk and went to sit next to him to hug him. Everything will be fine, remember that we are close to getting married, the alliance will be finalized, and also the new counselors will be more on the side of the current Lucifer, everything will be fine. They both looked at each other, encouraging each other. For the Rideed, having Rias by his side was a total blessing for his already chaotic life. And he doesn't plan on letting it be taken away from him. So the hug and kiss corresponded. Thank you for everything, Rias, your love, your affection, the baby we are going to have. His hand touched his beloved Rideed's belly, lovingly making Rias blush. Thank you for existing in my life. No ice, thanks to you for existing in my life. And they both kissed each other again in a loving way. There was pure and sincere love between them. Love that could not be seen anywhere. Other multiverses that love does not exist, and that is what makes me sad. They both arrived after a day of studying since Asia had stayed with Zenobia to help her with some things. And suddenly they saw Sirzechs and Grafia talking in a funny way with Erica. Issei-chan, it's good that you're here. We have something to tell you. Mom, shouldn't you be in bed? Your condition could. You don't need to worry about that anymore, son, because your mother already has a better life. What do you mean? He didn't understand his father's words. Out of nowhere, black bat wings appeared on the older chestnut's back. What surprised both young people. I became a demon, a bishop thanks to your father, and my cancer was completely cured, we can finally be the family we should have been. For Rias this was good because Erica could live to see her son achieve his goals and meet her grandchildren. But for Issei this was unexpected. His father anticipated what he had planned to do. After that day Issei was dealing with several stray demons whose number had increased due to the tensions in the underworld. The thing was that out of nowhere Sirzechs himself wanted to spend quality father and son time with Issei, which he did not take well, because he cannot deal with that kind of things when he has a serious matter at hand. He managed to kill several who tried to ambush him, but Sirzechs went too far and destroyed almost half a block. Issei was relieved that there were no people in that place. Issei's constant pestering and Sirzechs' constant insistence caused both of them to have arguments in which Erica had to intervene. To which she only had one idea that could help both of them. Therapy. In the living room of the house, the two of them were on a 3-seat sofa. Both separated, avoiding looking at each other, and in front of them was a black-haired woman with green glasses. Her name was Hisato. She was a friend of Erica's who is also a family psychologist, and at Erica's request, she paid them a visit to assess how big the conflict between father and son was. Well, we've been here without talking for 5 minutes, and neither of us have wanted to talk, so do you want to tell me what's wrong with your relationship? Issei, who considered this therapy as a waste of time, decided to speak to finish quickly. Well, since Mr. I'm always right doesn't want to talk, I will, and I hope it doesn't bother him or criticize me. Son, why don't you understand that I'm trying to make you a better person? I mean, a father should make his son see his mistakes. Please don't come out with that stuff, you think you're so perfect, I'm the ruler, everyone adores me, someday you'll be as powerful as me, as if you've never made a single mistake in your life. I never considered myself perfect, Issei. Yes, of course, and I am the one with the problem, because I am not a perfect son. You feel that way. And here we go again, you know son, I think you're going too far with the sarcasm. To start with, don't call me son so familiarly because I refuse to be that, and secondly, you are the one who always uses sarcasm. The psychologist had to intervene. Let's start with you, Sirzechs-san. Has your son done something that embarrasses you? Not at all, I'm never ashamed of Issei. The younger Redeed laughed dryly upon hearing that. Really? Hiding my mother and I as your other family and second home isn't shameful. Be honest, are you ashamed that I was born from an affair with a human and you saved yourself the embarrassment of explaining to my grandparents why you cheated on your wife? It is impossible to make him happy. Issei laughed more upon hearing that from his father. If I take an interest in his life I am controlling. If I let him make his decisions I am a distant father with mysterious ways. No matter what I do, he always assumes that I don't have good intentions. Because nothing is good enough for you. Because my car doesn't have a folding roof. Because my kitchen only has scotch. I was just trying to be interested in his life. You almost got us killed by some strays, and you almost got us discovered by the authorities by using more power than necessary because you wanted to impress me. And I think I noticed a certain young man who had become very excited when he saw the great attack I made. Because he knows I like big attacks, I can't control myself, you know that, and that's why you do it. Okay, time out, that's enough. They both fell silent upon hearing the psychologist. As Erica, Graphia, Rias, and the Gremory patriarchs watched the entire interaction trying to see how they could help, they realized that this was more complex than they thought. Do you want to know what I think of you? Oh, this will be interesting, pay attention because here I will tell you how abandoned and inept you are as a father, was what Issei said, smiling mockingly. Issei, he called the young man's attention. You are someone who, despite suffering the hatred that the underworld gave you, you continued forward, you tried hard to get ahead for your mother, and you managed to find love, caring little that this love is related to the blood of your parent. You have everything to rise and have more achievements in your life. Thank you. And Sirzechs, he called the attention of the older Redeed. You are Lucifer, the ruler, the leader in whom everyone can place their trust in their lives. You give the best of yourself so that your people live better, and you would do anything so that everyone around you and in your family would be happy. Thank you very much for your compliments. You are demons, creatures that have an origin of darkness, sin and desires. But despite all that, you are not so different from us humans. That confused both of them. Consider this discord between father and son. Lucifer, your son has not been as you expected, he cannot rise. Hey doctor, didn't I say I could get up? Do you know what makes a good father? I asked Sirzechs, ignoring Issei's claim he loves his son. Unconditionally, even though you couldn't give him his wish to be a united family, no matter what you must always support him. Both were now silent. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Both had lowered their gaze. Well now, so that the relationship between you can not only be fixed but also strengthened, you must keep these two mottos in your minds. So pay attention. Everyone present paid attention to him. For you Sirzechs, and family comes first and the underworld comes second, and for you Issei, family is what matters and you should never turn your back on it, even if it turns its back on you. They were going to talk, but she interrupted them. And finally, I want you to commit to being better people, whether for those you love or those who need you. Have I been clear? They had no choice but to simply nod and obey the psychologist. Since then, both of them have been committed to it. The day of the meeting had arrived, where despite what had happened, security had to be increased further. Among them Sirzechs along with Serafal and Graphia. The leader of the fallen Azazel along with Vali, who had on his right arm a red band with the symbol of the Soviet Union in yellow, leaving Issei a little annoyed, who also had on his right arm a white band with the symbol of the Wehrmacht. And the leader of heaven, who is the Seraphim Michael, accompanied by Irina, was present. And after a report together with the opinions of the three leaders, it was reached in which the three had agreed that there was no reason to continue a cold war between the three powers of Christianity, so peace had been reached. The heavenly dragon bearers had been asked if they wanted peace or war. Bali was not interested in war, he only wanted to live peacefully in the land where he was born, but if there was any threat he would gladly enter to defend it. Issei was almost the same as him, only he would kill anyone who tries to do something to his family. Don't mess with a man's family. I will not relate what follows because it is the same as the canon. Another day came, the whole family was there and the members of the Gremory entourage were also there. Everyone was happy, even Kaneko, who smiled a little. But someone knocked on the door. She was in a good mood and went to answer it without knowing what was going to happen. He opened it and there he saw someone he didn't expect to see. You? Am Hola Shirin. There was a very tense silence between them while on the sidewalk there was a blonde accompanying the black-haired girl. The strange thing was that she was on a flying broom. You know what I'm going to do. Right. Sip. Suddenly the albino girl gives her sister a tremendous blow in the face and she flies away from such force until she hits a car. It must be said that such an act caused noise and caught the attention of everyone who came out to see. Kuroka's friend approached her as she stood up touching her nose. You didn't lie, she hates you. Really, LeFay? If you don't tell me, I won't notice, she replied sarcastically and somewhat hurt to her friend. Then Shij da bake plus you are a huge idiot, you are a wanted criminal in the underworld, I don't know what you're doing here. He approached her. After 10 years you dare to show me your face. You killed your master, you left me alone, you broke your promise Gaisi de Pantu damn traitor, he shouted and insulted her in Mandarin. Shirin, I know you're upset with me, and I understand but we're not kids anymore, be careful how you're talking to me, the older girl said seriously. It's not about how strong the cat is but about her claws, he threatened her. No, little sister, it's always about how strong the cat is, he threatened her back. Both were going to fight. But a sandal hit the miner on the head. Hey, I don't want any fights here, you hear me? It was Erika who threw it and was going to throw another one if it weren't for the fact that she saw Kuroka. Is that my princess? My little daughter? Kuroka? He asked with joy when he saw her. Nice to see you, my lady, she respectfully and affectionately bowed to the woman as a servant to her mistress. Mom, do you know her? Issei asked her without knowing who she was. Son, you were very young when we adopted her into our home, in fact, you and she were inseparable, don't you remember your kitten that you brought in from the street? But that was 6 years ago, Mom, and… The girl approached him with a smile and moved her ears along with her two tails. Suddenly he lowered his head as if he was expecting something. To which the brown-haired boy, as if by inertia, did the following. He stroked the head and heard a purr coming from it. And a memory came to mind. An 11-year-old boy did the same thing, but with a black-furred cat that he enjoyed petting. Kuroka-chan. Young master, she said with affection and devotion to the chestnut tree. That had shocked the others present. This was the beginning of more problems. Meeting the underworld and my brother. All was silent in the dining room as the Gremory entourage looked at both girls seriously and Kaneko with anger and rage. Erika gave them 2 plates of food each, and Issei offered them tea, to which the black-haired Nekomata thanked with a smile and a purr. Making the girls jealous, and especially Rias and Kaneko. Like Kuroka, you haven't been here for a long time, but just look, you're very thin, eat something. Thank you, my lady, I hope I don't bother you in any way. They both ate and enjoyed the delicious food. Well, Rias asked Issei. Where do you know her from? 6 years ago I adopted a stray cat with black fur, I became fond of her and decided to take her home with the hope that mom would let me have her. I managed to convince her, and since then Kuroka was inseparable from me, she followed me everywhere and was always very affectionate and flirtatious. That was until 2 years after I adopted her, she disappeared for no reason at all. Everyone had paid attention to what the brown-haired boy was saying. I cried when I couldn't find her anywhere, she was my friend. Young master. He looked up to see the girl smiling at him fondly. I know I hurt him by leaving him alone, but I had to do it in order to. You don't have to tell me anything, Kuroka-chan, you were a free kitten, I had no right to hold you back. I am your property. I looked at my neck, young master. She magically removed an invisibility spell and revealed a black strap collar with a round silver plate that read, I am Kuroka, property of Issei Hyodo. Is that the necklace I gave you? I thought you had. I would never lose the most precious possession that my master gave me. This gave me strength not only to fulfill my mission, but to return home and be happy at his side with our family. Kuroka-chan. Issei did not deny it. He loved Kuroka, she was his faithful companion who was by his side in those difficult times. She always used to cheer him up when he came back in low spirits and when he cried helplessly for not being able to help his mother. She was and still is unconditional. Don't believe her, Issei-senpai, she's a criminal liar. Kaneko's voice was heard as she continued to glare at her older sister. Kuroka sighed, knowing or expecting this from her younger sister. Shirin, I know that what happened 10 years ago is something you will not forgive me for, but I swear that if you give me just one chance. What? To disappear again? To kill someone? To kill Issei-senpai and Erika-sama now? I would never do something like that to them, they are my masters. You killed your master and became a renegade. That bastard deserved it. Oh please, he said, not believing Kuroka. Just let me explain, and I also have to meet with Amayu so I can return to the underworld and have the charges dropped. And what makes you think we'll help you? As far as I'm concerned, you're a criminal and criminals should be turned over, so I don't care what you do. His little sister's words really hurt him. Understand? It was Lefei's turn to speak. I don't know the whole story, I don't know what they had to go through, but what I do know is that my friend has suffered not only from not seeing her master but you. I don't know you and don't talk like you know, which she replied angrily. That made the magician angry. Shirin, please. If you don't want me to talk to the authorities of the underworld so they can arrest you, then you better get out, go away, get out. Ungrateful Fa shouted at her, taking out a wand, putting the demons on alert. Enough, Issei shouted, trying to calm things down. Shirin, Koka shouted, trying to calm her sister down. This was going to get out of control as the Gremory entourage were going to attack, and so was Lefe, with only Issei, Rias and Koka trying to calm the situation down. But someone had had enough. 5. Kaneko-chan, it's enough. The woman's scream plus an aura that commanded respect and a loud bang on the table stopped everyone. Have more respect for your sister. Everyone calmed down and looked down, knowing they didn't want to anger the Hyodo matriarch any further. I am the one who decides who stays and who goes, aside from whether she is a criminal or not in this house, so as far as I am concerned she is not, and that is enough. She will have her audience with the Mayu and will say what she has to say, and all of you, and I speak in plural, are going to treat them both with the respect they deserve, because if I had found out that you did not obey me. She took out a sandal, making the demons and the guests nervous, especially Koka, who knew how threatening her master could be. This is what awaits your heads if you try to make me angry, have I been clear? Everyone nodded out of respect. She commands, it was obvious. My lady, I'm sorry to cause you so much trouble at home. Koka-chan, you are part of this family and family always takes care of each other. Those honest and loving words made the Nekomata's mental strength fall to shed a few tears of joy. And hugged the matriarch, who gladly welcomed her adopted daughter who was crying on her shoulder because of so much pain in her life. It was obvious to Issei that his mother's law was very important. The family is never abandoned. The Mayu listened to what Koka told him was a report of her discoveries in the Chaos Brigade and more involved in it. They were advisors, or rather ex-advisors, of the underworld who maintained contact with the current leader. Sirzechs Lucifer. So thanks to the decision of the new council and the other mass, the charges were dropped. Even so, she had to be monitored due to a lack of trust for being a spy, and during that time away, she became a double spy. So Sirzechs suggested that Koka become a piece of his son. She gladly accepted that condition, becoming Issei's first piece. And his queen. Then several days later something else happened. The Hyodo house was no longer a house, it was now a mansion. Something that Issei himself let out an angry cry. Fuck. Come on, Ice is not that bad. That's not so bad. I'll trade my house for a mansion, and I'll have to pay for the construction and the interest on it. Son, your father paid for everything, and I think you should realize that you are no longer the economic pillar of this family. But mom, this is wrong in several ways. I think you should start relaxing like a young man your age, Issei. But. Your mother is right, Issei, you should start enjoying yourself a little before your first child is born, said the older Redeed, while enjoying a breakfast and a juice that Grafia gave him. Let's start by saying, how did you get here? Through the door, he said, smiling. Very funny, and secondly, what do you mean by first child? Do you expect me to have more? Yes, I want them to have 9 with Rias, he said simply, while Grafia and Erica nodded in agreement with the Mayu. I want you to have about 6 with Koka-chan, said the brunette. I have about 5 with Asia, and Grafia added, smiling. That made those mentioned blush, well Koka not so much. In fact. Well, my kittens won't make themselves, go on, young master, said the Nico, trying to take Issei by the arm. And a magician, laughing a little, gave him a thumbs up. Freeze there, he's staying with me, Rias said, taking the other arm, preventing them from leaving. I'm not going to lose, Asia hugging him from the front. I hope there are vacancies. Akeno hugging him from behind. Issei, on the other hand, closed his eyes, knowing that this type of situation did not end well for him. Although when he looked at the white-haired Nico he could see that she had a distant look. She knew why that look was. She felt betrayed because he accepted a criminal into his family. I have to talk to her. Things happened normally. As Isay arrived, and at the request of the mass, he was going to train Ria's group for the next meeting of young devils. But Issei had to train with his own father because he wanted to improve further in his use of the power of destruction, even if he had to put up with his almost carefree attitude. So the next day they boarded a train that was going to take them to the underworld to make them legal there, without mentioning that Lefe decided to stay in the mansion for outside matters. When they arrived at the underworld and the Gremory mansion, they were greeted by Grafia and Venelana, who was happy to see her grandson again. But among them there was someone the Redeed didn't know. Aunt Rias. Milikas, how much you have grown. A red-haired boy of about 8 years old greeted them at the entrance. Eyes, I want to introduce you to my nephew. My name is Milikas, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hey Milikas, I have a surprise for you. Do you remember what your grandparents told you, that you have an older brother? Is he here? I asked excitedly, already wanting to meet him. Of course it's here, I'll introduce you to Issei, are you? He pointed out an empty space where his beloved should be. Where is he? He asked his servants about him. Young master, come down now. I don't feel ready, Koka. Stop the nonsense and come down. He was in the carriage with a Koka who was scolding him and ordering him to get out. Give me a moment. Rias went to see what was happening, and when she saw Issei, he was very nervous, breathing through a paper bag. What's wrong with you? Why are you like this? I'm scared, Rias. What if he doesn't like me? What if he looks at me with disgust? I mean, I'm the product of an affair, I'm a bastard. How do you tell a child hi, I'm your brother from another woman who slept with your father? How can you say that to him? I'm sorry I disappointed him before I even met him. It was obvious to Rias and the others that Issei needed help with this. Come on, Ice, that's not going to happen. Milikas is eager to meet you. And if he doesn't like me? You're going to like him. When have I lied to you? Okay, I'll try, I can do it, I can do it. When he was going out there, he saw the child who smiled when he saw him, and this. I can't do it. He wanted to get back into the carriage, but Koka stopped him and Rias took him by the arm. If you can do it, everything will be fine. They both pulled him and then put him in front of the younger Reed. Milikas, I would like to introduce you to your brother, Issei. Hello, he said nervously. Are you my brother? Yes, it's me. Great, Dad told me you're super strong and awesome. Come on. She takes him by the hand and leads him somewhere in the mansion. Leaving others smiling as what they feared did not happen. Ria smiles with love and joy, knowing that her beloved, ever since he found out he had a little brother, there wasn't a day that he didn't ask her what that little one was like. Now he hoped that the two Reeds would become united. Hours passed and Milikas, after showing the mansion to Issei, asked him to accompany him to a village located in the vicinity of the Gremory territories, to which he accepted. They went through many places having a lot of fun. Issei couldn't stop smiling as he saw how happy his little brother was as he told him things and showed him the many places he had visited. At dusk, they both stopped at what is a bell tower eating ice cream. And then, without Dad noticing, I dropped the bucket on his desk, wetting all those documents. He never knew it was me. You don't know how proud I am of you, Milikas, ha 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 ha. They both laughed at that funny moment. And then they calmed down to watch the sunset. Such a quiet moment. Nai-san. Tell me, Milikas. Because you didn't want to meet me? It's not that I didn't want to meet you, it's just that I was afraid that you would hate me for being the product of a love affair. Have you seen Aquaman? His first fight against Orm? Yes, the wine. That's how I was afraid you'd see me. The older brother lowered his gaze in sadness, something that the younger one saw. Nai-san, that wasn't going to happen. Dad always told me incredible things about you and told me that one day I would meet you. He also told me that you were going to protect me and take care of me if he was ever gone. That idiot is right about one thing, I'm your brother and I'll always take care of you so that you become as cool as me, so much so that you'll surely have a girlfriend before me at your age. In fact, that's what I'd like to talk about. So, really? And what is it? Well, there's a girl. Grafia-san doesn't want to know. That scream scared the child. What's wrong, Nai-san? Why are you shouting like that? Believe me, don't say anything, don't mention anything, don't do anything she tells you or the opposite, because the only thing she's going to do is ruin your first love, just like Sirzechs Lucifer did with a girl I met a long time ago when I was 7, her advice has never worked. Really? He asked, unsure. Yes, but don't worry, I'll help you with that problem. I don't mean to brag, but I'm kind of very attractive to girls, so much so that some want to do unholy things to me. How about you and Aunt Rias? That embarrassed to say a little. Yes, like your aunt and I, you won't think badly of our relationship, will you? My Aunt Rias is happy with you, she hasn't been for a long time when she got engaged, but you came along and she became happy, and in the end I'll have a nephew, right? You will have it. Do you promise me that you will take care of it, Milikas, in case I am not there? Yes, Nai-san, I will be the best uncle you could ever have. He raised his fist very excitedly. The older Reed just smiled, knowing that his little brother was going to keep his word. After all, she feels she can trust him. I'm glad, little brother. Then he looked at the sky. It's getting dark, we must go back before Grandma kills us. They both came down from the bell tower and left. Hey Nai-san, I want to be strong like you, will you train me? Of course, Milikas, I will do it, I only expect the best from you. And so they both left there. When they arrived, they were scolded by Venelana, who gave them a sermon about leaving home without warning and how Issei should be a good example for Milikas. Sip. A good start in the underworld. The meeting was reached. And Issei and Rias arrived with their servants. Rias with her queen Aeno, her knights Kiba and Zenobia, her two bishops Asia and Gaspar, and her rook Kaneko, who was still serious and reluctant. Issei with his queen Koka and his newly integrated team member Himari as a knight. Since I managed to obtain forgiveness and approval from the red-haired Mao. Both groups arrived elegantly dressed for the meeting. And among them they found someone. It's been a while, Rias. She along with the rest looked to see who it was. Sirzechs, it's you, it's nice to see you too. Issei looked at that guy and knew he was someone strong. Issei, I want to introduce you to Sirzechs, heir of the Bale King family, and my cousin. Cousin? So that's who he is. So you are Issei, I was told that you are strong, but I can see that the rumors do not do justice to the level you have, you can call me by my name or uncle if you want. Nice to meet you. I mean Sirzechs, I was nervous, and I had to make him see me as an outcast too. Hey, don't be nervous, you're a demon, be proud of who you are. Yes, I will. The brown-haired boy smiled knowing that his nephew was not someone arrogant as expected from others. He knows what humility is. And tell me Sirzechs, has everyone arrived? Only Sona and you were missing, although it's better if we don't get close to each other. Good. A loud noise was heard, and the truth is when they looked at who it was in the other room they saw that it was two groups of demons ready to throw themselves into a fight if necessary. Among them the heiress of the Aegir's clan. Sikvera. And the heir of the Glacial Ebola's clan. Serafel. They both looked at each other with different expressions, but they had something in common. They wanted to kill each other. Serafel, do you really want to start a fight in a place like this? Do you want to die? If so, I would gladly do it, but I am not responsible for what those above would say, the girl threatened him. I'll tell you as many times as I want, hitch in a bed I can teach you to be a real woman, or is it that the Oju-sama can't walk without her bodyguards? That's why you smell like a virgin, all the women of the Mayu family stink of virgins, I can give each of them a graduation ceremony in my bed, the guy spoke as if he were someone superior. For Issei, who did not intend to get involved in other people's affairs, the words he heard made his plans change, since that was an insult to his family and his beloved who is the mother of his son. That is why they should not be reunited, especially when it comes to arrogant heirs. Well, I'm going to have to. I'll take care of it, uncle. He stopped Issei and then walked towards the middle, without giving Sirzechs a chance to reply, but not before taking an elegant cane that Koka gave him. Ice what has. Better not get involved, Rias-sama, let the young master take care of it, it's been a while since I've seen him take out the trash, said Koka smiling excitedly. As for the two heirs. Sir miss. They both turned towards the Redeed who stood in the middle. We are in what is a meeting to be able to socialize and establish good political relations with the heirs of other clans, so I would greatly appreciate it if you would leave this conflict behind and we could enjoy this meeting, please. No one in the entire room said anything at Issei's words. Some looked at him strangely. Others looked at him as if he were crazy. And the girls, they loved how polite he was. Something that Rias didn't like at all. But. The dark elf laughed out loud at Issei's words. The blonde didn't say anything, she just kept silent. This was until the idiot spoke. How funny, better get out before I kill you, you idiot period hair. Issei looked down. I understand I'm leaving. He was leaving, but. Then I'm going to buck your sister, you idiot, he said, referring to Rias. Which made him quite angry. Oh, Koka said mockingly, knowing what's coming. Manners puts the first insurance forms, second insurance the man, third and last insurance. The demon looked mockingly, and with a movement of his hand, his lackeys stood at his side to teach the Redeed a lesson. Do you know what it means? Everyone looked at each other. I'm going to teach you a lesson, he said, looking at the demon from the reflection of a silver plate. And with the hook of his cane, he threw a glass cup which hit the arrogant demon on the head. Something that surprised everyone since no one dared to do something like that to an heir. Not bad, said Sirzechs. Impressive, said Sona, who had just arrived with her entourage. Incredible, said Himari, impressed by her master. You haven't seen anything yet, girl, Koka said. He approached the group of demons who still could not believe that their master was defeated so easily. Are we going to stay here all day? Or are we going to fight? The demon that was a tower threw a hook which he dodged and hit his companion, knocking out a tooth. And so the fight began, where Issei gave accurate blows to weak points, and using his staff, he managed to block the thrusts and sword cuts of the knights. This was incredible in the eyes of the demons, since they did not know who was the one who was beating up the Glacial Ebola's group. And he knocked everyone down until the heir got up with pain in his head and his forehead bleeding. He was preparing a magical attack. Ice, be careful. At Ria's scream, Issei created a Knigstager around him that deflected the magic shots that went to the walls. You damn servant, he did this until he began to lose consciousness from the pain. Then making his hand like a gun, he shot him in the forehead, knocking him out completely. Everything seemed to be over. But one was going to attack him from behind, and without looking he hits him with Panzerfaust to knock him out. When it was over, most people applauded the spectacle, and Sirzechs could only smile at such a display of skill and power. Who would have thought, Rias, I have a very strong nephew. I know, he doesn't want to admit it, but he's just like Ani-sama, said the Redeed, being somewhat proud of her beloved. Issei approached a maid. Say, my lord. I'm sorry for having caused such a spectacle, please clean this place up and call, so that those I just disciplined can be attended to, please. I will do it, my lord, but you will get into trouble for this, she said worriedly. Don't worry, I'll take full responsibility, tell him it was the first heir of the Gremory clan who did it. The latter caused a shock as they now recognized who that stranger was. He was the son of the Mau, who humiliated Razor Phoenix and killed the 10-winged cadre Kakabiel. Not forgetting that he fought alongside the White Dragon. Sirzechs now knew that she had to apologize for her insolence in front of the Mau's son, although she doesn't deny that he was cute. The heir of the Asterith family, although he smiled, only had hatred inside since he does not tolerate half-breeds. Rias sighed knowing that her beloved was going to be the focus of attention of many. And I had to plan to do something about it. The family is growing. The meeting of young demons had begun and each one introduced themselves. Although. I am Rias Gremory and he is Issei Gremory, we are both heirs and promised. The latter was said by stressing to the heiress Agares that she should refrain from approaching her beloved. Issei rubbed the bridge of his nose, knowing how jealous his beloved Redeed can be. Causing laughter from Sirzechs and Sona, who were happy about it. Although Issei remained alert. Since the heir of the Asterith family gave him a bad omen. The young people presented themselves before the council. Sorry. The new demons of the council and before the four mass. It is an honor for me that these young demons are here and are the future of the underworld I want. The red-haired Mau stopped when he saw something, and that something was his son who was in front next to Rias. The Mau stepped down from the podium and approached Issei. Then he touched him and saw that he had a small wound on his forehead. Who did this to you? Issei really didn't want to make a scene in the middle of very important people from the underworld. Hey, please don't make a scene. No, I want you to tell me who touched you like you were lazy and tell me now, he said it seriously. Seriously, ignore this, do you want to? He said while looking at the others who were watching him. Rias, who did that to you? Well, she didn't want to say it either. Rias. It was one of Zeraful's servants since he didn't like the way he spoke to me and offended me, she said, already resigned and with Issei's gaze very annoyed by the scene she created. One of the glacial Ebolas morons did that to you? Yes, he said resignedly. Then that son of a hitch lost his mind, damn it. And with those words he began to leave. Hey, where are you going? I'll take care of some things, come with me and Seraful, please take care of them. The aforementioned patted her forehead knowing what her friend was going to do. Already in the glacial Ebola's territory. We see that they appeared at the entrance and just when Rias was thinking about speaking, Sirzechs kicked the steel door, knocking it down. Was that necessary? Issei told him, very annoyed with him. There is no time for formalities. Oh, for Satan's sake, said the Redeed, touching the bridge of her nose in annoyance. When they arrived, they entered by force and were received by two servants of Zeraful who were somewhat bandaged. Who are you? Wow, you know, it's been a while since I last came here, but I could have sworn that this place had more light. Wow, how things change. Listen, it's better if you leave. He couldn't finish as he received a blow that sent him to the ground and then the other was knocked down by a blow to the chest by a magic bullet. Well son, tell me which of these two was it? Hey, you better not do it. Rias, he ordered his sister better. It was that one, resignedly she pointed to the one on the left. But Sirzechs, with a bit of power of destruction in the form of a 9mm bullet, shot the other in the leg, causing him to scream in pain. Ani-sama, I pointed at the other one. I know, but I wanted him not to interfere while Issei beats the other up. And what makes you think I'm going to beat him up, Sirzechs? He said, angry and embarrassed. So without further ado, the older Redeed shot the other and the Redeed slapped herself on the forehead for how stupid her brother was. Then Sirzechs puts a foot on the guy's crotch. And now I want to talk to your master, where is he? How is he going to tell you something if you're crushing his balls? Issei asked him questioningly. Believe me, when I put my hand on the wall, that's when I crushed his balls, that made the guy scream in agony. Now tell me, where is your master? What's going on here? The man came out of some doors accompanied by Zeraful, who had his head bandaged. Lord Labolas, I haven't seen him for a long time. The aforementioned was nervous. Sirzechs Sama, what do you want here? He asked cautiously as he saw the Mau approaching. What did you wish for? It's been a long time since anyone asked me that question, but since you're offering, well, I wish to have the best aphrodisiacs of the highest quality, both magical and natural. I wish to revive Freddie Mercury to reunite the most famous band in English rock. I wish to have 72 uninterrupted hours with my wives, since that's what aphrodisiacs are for. But what I wish for the most, and what really bothers me, is to know why your heir did not give my son the due respect in the name of the Gremory family, he said, pointing at Issei. Is that your son, Sirzechs Sama? By pride, that will give me a grandson, he said, smiling. Lord Labolas had learned that his heir had been beaten by another heir and was prepared to demand compensation. But now that he saw who he had messed with, he knew that he had totally screwed up. So I try to fix the problem. Look, Sirzechs Sama, I want to clarify that my heir did not know that he was his son. If so, this would not have happened to me. I knew he was the heir of the Gremory, and in fact he wanted to spend a night with his sister. In fact, he should thank me because we could be family. Bang. Ah. The one who shot a bullet of power of destruction at him was Issei, who was very angry to hear such a thing. Calm down, son, I'll take care of it for now. Why don't you leave while I talk to Lord Labolas? Issei knew what his father was going to do, but he decided not to stop him. Come on, Ice. Both Redeeds left while the older Redeed spoke to the leader. Well, I hope you understand that I cannot let this offense pass, Lord Labolas. I understand, Sirzechs Sama, and I accept any condition you ask for. I know that my heir committed an unforgivable act, and I am willing to pay for it. I'm glad we agree. A few days passed and things had gotten tense. Issei was looking for ways to become stronger, and thanks to Azazel, he managed to get training with the Dragon King Tannen. Rias had more serious training with Venelana to have better control with her power of destruction, although of course with strict surveillance, so that it does not affect her pregnancy. Everyone was training following the plan set by Azazel. But after those days something happened. Issei was called right away because Kaneko collapsed. Upon arrival, he spoke with Koka, who was in charge of his training. Young master, it's my fault, Come on, Koka, calm down, tell me what happened. I trained Shirin with her senjutsu, but she refused to use it and didn't obey me. I tried many things until I had to resort to making her angry, but it was a mistake since she almost got out of control. I put my little sister in danger. What kind of sister am I? He started crying because of the sadness he felt. She loves her sister and wanted to not only make her stronger and accept herself. If he didn't recover the time he had lost for what he did. Issei hugged her, letting her cry on his shoulder. He loved his little cat and queen, and it hurts him to see her cry because of this family problem. She didn't want to get involved because this had to be resolved between them, but it seems that won't be possible. So you will have to act. Koka, let me talk to her. She calmed down and allowed it and let him pass. Upon entering, he saw Kaneko with her Nekomata ears and tail. Kaneko-chan, I heard what happened. I think we need to talk. There is nothing to talk about, senpai, he replied coldly. Yes, there is. After all, your older sister was crying, and I don't like seeing her like that. Just like. And what about me? Don't I deserve to be angry for him abandoned me, she shouted, angry at him for defending her. Just like you, and that hatred you feel for her is affecting not only Koka and yourself, but it will affect everyone else. You're only defending her because you don't really know what happened. I know everything. She didn't even look at him, making the Redeed sigh with exhaustion. He sat on the bed and with his hand touched the soft white hair of the Nekomata. You know, Kaneko-chan, when Koka was my pet, there were nights when she cried and had a sad look in her eyes. I always wondered what made her sad. Back then I was just a child who didn't want to see his kitten sad. I comforted her and told her that everything was going to be okay. The white-haired girl listened to him. Now that I know the reason for your sadness and yours, I realize that I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. You love each other, your family, and now that you're in my family, I want you to be sisters again, and it's not me who's saying it, it's your eyes that say it. She stood up to look at him. What does senpai mean? You want your sister to hug you and tell you everything will be okay? I know, because that's what Milikas expects every time she's scared. It's not that easy to forgive, senpai. I can't forget that you abandoned me and you want me to do it. I'm not asking you to forgive her right away, just talk to her. He put a hand on her head, touching it very lovingly, making her purr a little. And then he looks into her eyes. Please. And kissing her forehead tenderly, he leaves her to go. Not knowing that those words and actions reached his heart. Shortly after, Koka entered the room and looked at her little sister. He had left both sisters alone, hoping for the best. When he arrived at one of the many rooms, he saw Rias reading a book, enjoying some tea. But when I saw the title, I blushed because it was about baby names and their meaning. Then he approached her. Have you decided on one yet? There are several options, Ice, but there is still time to decide. The Redeed bent down to kiss her lovingly, which she received very gladly. Did you get Kaneko-chan to talk to her sister? I did it. Now it will be up to both of us to fix everything. And how have you been doing with Milikas? I heard you're training him. My little brother is a prodigy. He learned to shape the power of destruction very well, without forgetting that he is good at jujitsu. He almost broke my wrist. Milikas has always been interested in defense and martial arts since he trained with Sirzechs, but Grafia fears that he will become too conceited. That's why I don't hold back in training. I try to keep him grounded, but I can't help but feel proud of him. Then Issei, without warning, kneels down to put his cheek on his beloved's belly, taking her by surprise, and even more so when he hugs her and rubs her cheek with great affection. She smiles at such an act. If she had married Razor or some other heir, they wouldn't even have done this. In fact, they wouldn't have even spoken to her, just smiling arrogantly at having inseminated Damau's sister. But now that she is with a man she loves and they are expecting a baby with such eagerness, she can't help but have a few small tears of happiness. She didn't care that her beloved and she share blood, or even what the underworld says about their relationship, she just wants to be happy by his side, already holding in her arms the tender baby that is about to come. But what made her fall in love the most were some words she heard from her beloved speaking to her belly. "Hello little one, I don't know if you can hear me, but I want to tell you that your mommy and I are waiting for you with great anticipation to meet you, to hold you in our arms and give you all the love you deserve. I promise that it doesn't matter if you are a boy or a girl, I will always love you with all my soul, although if you are a girl, I will make sure to scare away any idiot who wants to be too clever with you with my rifle, but if you are a boy, I will teach you many things, even how to conquer girls, so that you are as gallant as me." Hey, the Redeed gave him a sniff, laughing a little. "Ow, I deserve that one, but never ever forget that I love you very 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 much. You have a dad who will do anything for you, and a beautiful and hexy mom who will take care of you. I love you, and I will always love you my little one, my biggest reason to keep fighting. I'm going to make this world a better place for you and for you." He hugged her closer to the point where she couldn't help but feel blessed to be so lucky to meet her beloved. He thanked whatever deity made this possible, and he'll make sure no chaos-crazed moron or psychopath ruins all his hard work and happiness. But above all, she will make sure to love her beloved and her son who is on the way with all her soul. "Isay, I love you so much. I love you too Rias, you are my beloved, my wife, my love." They both loved each other with all their soul, with all their heart. But the same life. All of this was seen by Sirzechs and his beloved wives Grafia and Erica, along with the Gremory patriarchs. For them it was like going back to the past where they played for eternal love. But they were sure of something. The family is growing. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.